Come on, people. Deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe this Tuesday. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Big up you lot on Twitch if you are on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor, smash the like button. And more importantly than that, get the creative juices flowing. I want to hear all your comments on what we go over. Tab Police, look away. I'm sure you lot are with a fine eye and ear listening and hoping that Arsenal sign a striker or players. We're still linked with Gyokeres. Allegedly, he's threatened to force through an Arsenal move. Rodrygo Rumours won't go away, and there's a couple other isms and schisms, man. So yeah, big up yourselves for tuning in. Kwame, come on, my guy, appreciate you. What's up? I'm good, man. Spent the afternoon, or better yet, morning. I went gym, prayed. Pardon me, prayed, went gym. It's a bit. I don't know if it's weird, but in terms of just keeping my spirits, I take like 5 minutes out of the day to just write things that I'm happy about or I'm grateful for, really and truly. Abundance mindset and that. Had a couple meetings trying to progress this thing, chasing invoices as well, which, you know, is an unnecessary evil, man. But it is what it is. I'm doing well and safe, man. I got my health. Everybody around me's got their health. I hope you and your loved ones have got that as well. Can't complain about nothing, my dude. Gyokeres is the answer, man. Who else? I'm on Gyokeres. I just would like, primarily why I would like Gyokeres is something different. He's 20. I keep saying the same things. He's 27. He's right now. If we're really on this winning now mode and things, I'm not saying you can't sign Sesko and he can't be a hit. I'm not saying that, you know, some critics would say, oh, he scored all them goals in the Portuguese league. I'm not saying these are legit factors. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong, innit? We buy another striker. I know, people, that's the lazy example, but that's what we have to do in it. That's the only way in life. All these signings are a risk. But for me, it's just something different. Like, he's 27. He's right now. If you really want to get over the line, that is the kind of signing that tells me more than anything the intention. I like Sesko, but it ties in with what you could. I'm not saying I actually think he could impact us in the short term, but it's clearly more geared towards what you could be in the future. And I think that's great. That has been our project. But since we've sniffed at winning a Premier League trophy, it's now about getting over the line, and we need a couple of those, man. Now, that's not weird. A lot of people write down their feelings, plus the weird people have the biggest impact on the world. I appreciate that, man. And you know what, in life, it's just about gratitude, man. You could always have more, you could always have less. I don't know who made the saying, but I don't know. You know, little things that stick with you as a kid. A teacher once said, yeah, big up Miss Gordon, Jamaican lady in primary school. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. And that was probably like year 4, year 5. So it's true, you know, it really is. So yeah, man, it's just about that sort of stuff, if I'm honest, man. Keon, one love, my guy. Nearly at 68,000 subs, onwards and upwards. Come on, without you lot, the process wouldn't process. At least we have a process here we can actually trust. Couldn't do it without you lot. My silent supporters, the mods, etc., etc. I mean, we could get there, man. We need to get to 70 before the end of the year. Once we get to 70, then it's just roll to 100k, and then we get that plaque's getting slapped here. And then fuck it, we try to get 1 million in it or die trying. I don't know, man. You got to try in this life. You got to try in this life. So yeah, big up you lot tuned in and all of those good things. Should we see what the tabloids are saying? Why waste any time, people? Big up to you lot who also watched the video that I'm sure would have been posted on my YouTube channel. If I can remember correctly, a video was scheduled to go out this morning and a cut-up clip from what me and Igal did last week. So I hope that actually has gone out. So yeah, extra big up yourselves. Lionheart, come on. I ain't seen you in a minute, Lionheart Fitness. Where you been, my dude? Nice to see you back. I just want to see players holding shirts now. But Gyokeres is the guy to win now. And Sesko is the guy for 2-3 years from now. I'd sign both if it was up to me. I'd sign both if it was up to me as well, because there's logic. You got Gyokeres, who's right now. You got someone that can, in a support role, help you in the short term, more geared towards the medium and long term. But then there's two things I say to that. If we were to get these two strikers, which isn't going to happen, and I'm not saying this is my thinking, but we have to be honest. What happens with Kai Havertz? I personally think, regardless, you're going to see a lot more of Kai Havertz in midfield. But the striker thing, he looks a lot better up front than he does in centre midfield. Arteta likes the guy. Arteta signed the guy. He's on big money. We bought him for 65 million. He's clearly a valued member of the squad. He's not going anywhere. I'm not saying that's the sensible logic. That's just a reality. So that's not going to happen. And I also feel if we were to get Sesko and Gyokeres, obviously, our owners are billionaires. I'm sure if they really want to do it, you can dot I's and cross T's and manipulate stuff. But I don't think we're getting Rodrygo anyways. Definitely don't think you're getting Rodrygo if you spend however much it requires for Gyokeres and Sesko, because it's fair to say for either player. We're probably looking at 60, 70, that kind of region. So it's a bit of a myth, man. Was in Brazil with the wife, had a great time. Big up yourself. What is it with everyone going? Listen, Brazil's a great country, and I'm going off topic. But it feels like everybody, big up yourself, because you're the latest person to say that. It feels like a lot of people are saying they're going Brazil, man. I need to go, man. I need to go. But yeah, as you can see here, people, Fabrizio Romano tweeted earlier today, Viktor Gyokeres has already personally informed Sporting President Varandas. 1 second. Can't really see my monitor, but yeah, let's go again. Viktor Gyokeres has already personally informed Sporting President Varandas about his decision to leave. No intention to play for the club anymore. Gyokeres wants new chapter. He feels heartbroken after exit pack and not expected to return to training. Now, apparently, Sporting Lisbon are returning to training today or tomorrow, one of those. I always say what's going on in the real world of football, like, and what the journalists are saying to us could be two different things. Gyokeres could be got very well, he could be feeling this way, but is going to go in training. And we have heard this, man. We've heard a lot of rumors. We've bidded once, we've bidded twice, we've done a verbal agreement. We're about to bid the third time. Gyokeres has told every other club interested. He's got his heart set on Arsenal. We're going for Gyokeres. Personally, I feel there's a lot of gamesmanship from Arsenal, Sporting Lisbon, and Leipzig filtering stuff to the media, and there's a lot of whispers going on. I still think they want Sesko. I think, you know, where we're seeing with this latest development with Gyokeres, it kind of piggy banks off the fact of a few days ago, or better yet, 24 to 48 hours ago. What did we hear? Leipzig are playing hardball over the fee for Sesko. So are we playing a game of chicken, essentially, is what I'm saying. But that's what Romano said, people. And continuing on that theme with Gyokeres, apparently he made a phone call to the Sporting President where he made clear his desire to move to Arsenal no matter the cost. Now, and again, promises are a comfort to a fool. I wish everybody, every man and woman in this world was a man of their word, but that's not the case on the best of days, and especially in business. Gentlemen's agreement don't go anywhere. The only legally binding agreement Gyokeres has is you can leave for your release clause. They might, obviously, you're gonna, managers, presidents, they're gonna lie to people all the time. You're gonna tell Gyokeres everything he wants to hear. Yeah, you can leave next year if you give us one more year, gentleman's agreement, all of that. If I's haven't been dotted and T's haven't been crossed, you get into scenarios like this. And again, I'm not a Sporting Lisbon man, but I'm sure he's a Sporting Lisbon legend. He's probably one of the best players to have played in Portugal in recent years, and he's gone down in folklore. So it's almost been a hot love. Obviously, he done his thing at Swansea and Coventry, mixed opinions, but he's raised himself in stature. That is a hot love, and it feels like it's going to have a cold end. The player explained to the president he had given his all for the club, and if they accepted 60 million euros plus 10 million euros in bonuses, it would be double what they paid for him, which is true. But then Sporting, you know, the British club's got money. You know, the striker market's dead. Apparently, Gyokeres is in high demand, and there are conflicting reports to that. You want a bidding war. You don't really care if he goes to Arsenal, Chelsea, United, Saudi. You just, if there's many people interested in the product, it drives up the price. And if you're Sporting, you want as much money as you can so you can get your replacement for Gyokeres. You could do whatever you want to do in the with your own squad in terms of replacements. You know, they're going to lose Diamande to Palace. That's a centre half they're going to need to go find. We know they do the scouting thing. They're going to lose a striker. They're going to need to address that. There's probably some other areas that they want to do. So the longer it drags out, really, nobody wins. Arsenal don't get their player at the moment. Gyokeres, in this case, doesn't get his new club and his new adventure. And the longer it takes for Sporting, the knock-on effects, because you have to find a replacement. Logically, if I don't know. What's the team that comes to my head? I don't even know. Let's just say Leyton Orient. I've got a striker. Sporting Lisbon want this striker as a replacement. Naturally, once I see Gyokeres go for whatever fee and Sporting come to my office and say they want to buy my striker, I might have charged them 2 weeks ago 30 million, but now I know that you've got money from a British club, a Premier League British club. It might go from 30 million to 45. So the longer they mess about, there's knock-on effects, people. So it is what it is. Court Offside is saying Arsenal are planning to submit an opening bid for Viktor Gyokeres. Smash the like button, by the way, mods. Make sure we're doing that in the coming days. Possibly worth in the region of 75 to 80 million euros. Now, when I see reports like this, I think we're playing hardball with Sesko, because that is a fee that we're led to believe makes sense for Sporting. Gyokeres has been clear that he wants to join Arsenal. There have already been positive talks between the club and agent. Now, naturally, Berta has to tie up multiple deals. If Sesko goes left or Gyokeres goes left, we're able to move. I think we're playing a game of chicken, like Sesko and Gyokeres. We're going to get you. so that either Leipzig or Sesko's camp or whoever it is acting over there stops acting, if that makes sense, people. He's threatened to go on strike, allegedly. He's threatened to go on strike if Sporting Lisbon do not let him join Arsenal. Duncan Castles, I don't know for the credibility, folks, revealed on the Transfer podcast last week that Gyokeres is very upset at Sporting breaking a promise to sell him this summer for a fee of 60 million. Castles adds that there is a clause in his contract that Sporting must pay Gyokeres a 6 million penalty fee if they do reject offers of over 60 million. Fair enough if the agent managed to do that, because again, it's easy for me to say, but if I'm the president, I ain't agreeing to that. The journalist adds that Gyokeres is threatening to go on strike if Sporting refuse to sell him. A line also confirmed by Portuguese publication A Bola, again not sure for the credibility, and Fabrizio Romano. Apparently we've made him our #1 target this summer, but again, I'm sure if I just type in Sesko and Arsenal and #1 target, there's articles that would say the same thing with Benjamin Sesko. But I've been left frustrated by Sporting's high demands over a transfer fee. Fair enough, man. Apparently, Gyokeres' agent claims Sporting broke a promise to sell him for 60 million euros plus 10 million euros in bonuses. Sporting Lisbon, for what it's worth, have denied that. Due to problems over this deal, Arsenal have been simultaneously working on a deal for Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko and may instead sign him due to problems surrounding Gyokeres. But literally last week, the same kind of language was said about Gyokeres, for Sesko, and as to why we're getting Gyokeres. So God knows what this really means and what's actually going on in the real world of football. The Swede is also wanted by Man United, Juventus, and Saudi Arabian clubs, but his preferred destination is believed to be Arsenal. So yeah, man, we're gonna have to see how that one develops. There's still a 10 million, if it would load, there's still a 10 million euro gap between Arsenal and Leipzig on Benjamin Sesko that has nevertheless developed into a game of chicken as the two clubs seek to get the best possible deal. Arsenal have been seeking to do a deal on installments that currently comes to around 70 million. So we're looking at, if we take what these lot are saying for gospel, the 70 million mark, whether it's Gyokeres and Sesko or both, is what we're looking at. If we did get both, I think you're going to have to, it's almost a shoe-in. You're not going to get Rodrygo or any of them guys. You're going to get a development kind of left winger, if that makes sense. An emerging talent, I should say. Kepa's arrival at Arsenal could mean a departure for Karl Hein after impressing on loan at Real Valladolid last season. He's subject of loan interest from other La Liga clubs, although Arsenal would also be open to a permanent deal. If Partey departs, Arsenal will have to be replaced. With the situation unresolved for now, the club are discussing a number of possible alternatives. Lucien Gourmet is one of the names under discussion. That's being reported by Gunner Blog, via the Athletic people. On the Thomas Partey front, his contract expires next week, and Arsenal have been in negotiations over an extension, but are yet to find an agreement. Although Partey's preference has been to remain in London, he's entertaining offers from elsewhere. You've got no choice. And what I would say to Partey, again, I don't know for the actual interest, because again, I'm going to keep saying it. What is said in the papers and actually what's going on with the decision makers in the world of football is another thing. He's been linked with Juventus. He's been linked with a return to Atletico, Barcelona, and AC Milan. Great countries to live in, big clubs, all of that kind of stuff. And Partey, obviously, when you think of Thomas Partey, a lot of it is centered around injuries, right? But when you watch his interview, I think he did in Ghana, he spoke about when he bust through in Atletico Madrid, and obviously he rose in prominence in the squad. He was still on the same contract. You're still on the same, probably because of fitness, you're still on the same deal you had in 2020, in 2025. So I understand football career is short. If you're valued by Mikel Arteta, your experience, you're probably thinking they don't want to let Jorginho and me go. I understand why you'd want to make more money. But what I would say is, of course, there's signing bonuses and all of those kind of things. But even if Arsenal give you either a short uplift on your wages, a short decrease on your wages, or freeze your wages and say sign a new deal and you're getting exactly the same money, whether that's a thing or not, that's probably more than you're going to get at Juventus, at AC Milan, at Barcelona, at Atletico Madrid. And we're led to believe you're happy to remain in London and at Arsenal. The only way you're going to get the big bad money, which is something more than what Arsenal's giving you, is obviously you go to Saudi Arabia. Now, I don't know at this moment in time if he wants to do that, people. Commiserations, obviously, to FC Porto and Fabio Vieira. Their club World Cup campaign is over in the group stages. He's now expected to return to Arsenal after a short holiday. So this is someone whose future needs to be resolved. Anyone seen Porto's Moura? I wonder how much Porto value Fabio Vieira. Fabio, can you take a wage cut? Can you go back over there? Can you knock off some of the price? Because that 18-year-old is going to be a star, man, really and truly. Aside from the announcement of Martin Zubimendi, Arsenal's next significant arrival, keyword significant, is likely to be Kepa, as he's expected at London Coley this week to tie up his 5 million move from Chelsea. Now, Charles Watts, Chris Wheatley, and all of them are saying that Miles Lewis-Skelly has finally put pen to paper on his new deal. It's believed to be until 2030. That's a 5-year deal. If Lewis-Skelly keeps doing what he's doing, he's probably going to get an improved contract within that time. And Wanyeri the same, even if Saliba and Saka sign new deals. A source told Sun Sports Zinchenko is a major target for Fulham. He looks almost certain to leave Arsenal this summer, and there'll be no shortage of takers. Arsenal values Zinchenko at 12.7 million, while Fulham think they could land him for around 10. Now, we know we're not going to make no real money. We probably just want to take his wages off the wage bill. Again, being interested needs to correlate to buying. We hear AC Milan are onto him, although there's some reports that say that's wide of the mark. Ajax, who else? Atletico Madrid, which I think is crazy. Fulham, who also linked with Nelson. The more clubs interested in these want-away players or players that are past it, the better for us, people. Again, AC Milan have been interested. Apparently, Zinchenko is willing to take a wage cut, and they're looking to agree a fee or better yet, a figure of under 20 million euros. Between Fulham and AC Milan, I wonder what he picks now. Respectfully to Fulham, if I was Zinchenko, I'm going to pick AC Milan. A football career, sure. I've played for Manchester City. I've played for my country. I've played for PSV in Holland, which is a big club. I know AC, well, I'm only 30. AC Milan isn't quite the big, bad European powerhouse it used to be, but it's still a magical club. It's a big club. To say at the end of your days, you've played there, lived in Italy, all that kind of stuff, adventure, it makes sense. But at the same time, he's also been linked with West Ham. But at the same time, you got to remember family life. His wife and kid are comfortable in London. You're probably going to earn better wages if you move to a Premier League club than you would these ones. So there's a lot to think about. But where you look at the players like Zinchenko, it's all fun and games saying sell them. It's not that all the power's in his hands because he's on the peripheral, but he's clearly a squad player. Arteta clearly values you to some degree. You're on big money that you might not get anywhere. You might want to run down your deal so you're a free agent. This is something that's become a thing now. He might even believe, you know what? Arsenal have probably seen that they need a bigger squad. They need to rotate. Maybe I feel Arteta has learned from last season and I'm going to get more opportunities. I'm not saying he should agree with this, but what if he sits there and thinks, I was once the first choice left back on the seat. I like Lewis-Skelly, but he's 18. I like Calafiori. He can't stay fit. Tomiyasu and Timber can do a job at left back. No one's going to see that on a consistent basis. What if I reckon I can grab my spot back? I don't know, man. Keep smashing the likes. Pressure is on Zubamendi to perform for minute one if Partey dips out. It's true, and I think that's with everyone. I think that's with all the new signings. I think that's for the existing players. I think that's with Mikel Arteta. We're impatient now. We're hungry. And, you saw our fixture calendar list the first 6 to 10 games. We need to get over the line. I'm a bit uneasy with Partey leaving. I understand the off-field issues. I understand the footballing reasons to let him go, but I know Jorginho was on the peripheral things, but it's too much transition for me. It's a lot on Zubamendi. I like what Zubamendi can do, but it is a new league. He does have to adapt. He does have to adapt. It's a new guy. It's a new partnership with Declan Rice. God forbid if one gets injured, we're kind of back to square one. Then you're flirting with, we haven't seen it on a consistent basis, but Wanyeri, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Odegaard in a deeper role. I'm not necessarily against these things, but we haven't necessarily seen that. You have got Marino. Kai Havertz probably plays in the 8 if there's any effing about. But we need bodies. And you could argue Arsenal probably wanted another midfield body because in an ideal world, Partey signs a new deal. Zubamendi comes in. That's us from midfield. Who knows? Maybe even Jorginho would have stayed and been a peripheral figure. I don't know, people. But shout out Jorginho for slapping it on Chelsea as well. But there is pressure. When Rodrygo returned to training, sources at Real Madrid's Valdebebas complex said his attitude had changed for the better. They added Alonso was being highly attentive to him, showing respect to the player while demanding a lot from him. Those sources said that did not provide any guarantees Rodrygo would stay past this summer. So this seems to be the one we're going to bet our hat on this summer and hope if we get him, man. Again, can't verify the credibility, but like the AC Milan fan pages are basically reporting that potential interest from AC Milan for Zinchenko is wide of the mark. And a lot of it, did they genuinely want Zinchenko? Or is it just clearly his days are numbered at Arsenal? He's a centre mid that can play left back. They're going to let Theo Hernandez go. Is this a journalist adding 2 and 2 together and just making sure he gets the clicks? I don't know, people. Rodrygo's father received and rejected approaches from a number of Premier League clubs through intermediaries. Teams were interested to know about Rodrygo's situation. Arsenal were convinced they could offer him a sporting project where he could be at ease, playing on the left-hand side of attack, but with freedom to roam. That would be lit, especially with Lewis-Skelly and Declan Rice in the 8 and whatnot. But yeah, he has regularly played on the right wing for Real Madrid, which is not his favourite position. Arsenal are prepared to wait to determine whether Rodrygo is definitely open to leaving or not, and and whether Madrid are willing to sell. And we do see as low as 70 million and as high as just over 100 million. But the Premier League club are mindful they cannot afford to wait indefinitely. Rodrygo is one of several wide forwards who have been under discussion at Arsenal this summer, also including the likes of Newcastle United's Anthony Gordon. We can't wait. At some point, we're going to have to say we love it, but we need to go and get a more tangible target. Fabrizio on Rodrygo said, Arsenal love Rodrygo. They consider him as a fantastic player, a dream target as a winger, also because they feel Nico Williams is impossible to reach this summer. Rodrygo remains a strong name on the list for Arsenal for sure. Fair enough. Martinelli is happy at Arsenal and the club expect him to stay. However, if an attractive buyer came in for Martinelli at an appropriate price, especially one which enabled Arsenal to land some of their top targets, then Arsenal's position could shift. So we're not actively forcing you out. Everyone's got a price. You can go if it makes sense. Arsenal could battle Tottenham for Christian Nordgaard after Zubamendi deal. Fair enough. 31 years of age could be a stopgap. Allows us 12 months to go and find someone. Don't really think it makes sense because you're letting a 32-year-old go and then you're bringing in a 31-year-old. Premier League proven and all that jazz. I reckon you're more likely to go to Spurs. I don't know where Arsenal's interest came from, but it's easy to link Spurs or Thomas Frank with Brentford players for obvious reasons, people. I don't reckon we get him. And to be fair, you got to say sorry to Martinelli because I still remember that kick. Arsenal have already moved to bring in Zubamendi following departure of Jorginho. Partey's contract expires. We know that. Failing to agree fresh terms with Partey would leave Arsenal short in midfield, and Nordgaard, who enjoyed an excellent season with Brentford, is among those Mikel Arteta may look to target. Probably wouldn't. I don't know what fee they would look for, but wouldn't break the bank, and I don't imagine his wages would break the bank. Arsenal's interest may rest on Partey. So long story short, the man stays. We can forget that, in it really. So we're gonna have to watch that one closely. Kepa will finalize his move this week. Big up hand of Arsenal. We've gone over that already. Boy, Noni Madueke rumors are not going anywhere. Arsenal have been speaking to Chelsea about a potential move for Noni Madueke. Chelsea want 50 million for the player, which is not a price Arsenal want to go to right now. There's a possibility a deal may be revived later, in the summer. I'm reading two things at once. Reports in Spain are still linking Ogorme with us, if that makes sense. And I have covered this before, but apparently we're accelerating our move for Joel Hatto, and talks have been positive and meetings are taking place. He's valued at 50 million euros. I'm on it. Got a lot to work on, but who expects a 19-year-old to be the finished article? But as you can see here, has played over 100 senior appearances for Ajax, has captained them on occasion, has played for his country, has spent a year basically playing left back, can play centre half. It makes sense to me. If I was Hatto, though, not that I wouldn't sign for Arsenal or half the teams you've been linked with, but you're 19. I feel in today's day and age, half decent 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old, showing all their potential, and you need to go sign for the big clubs. You're 19. How many 19-year-olds? Yeah, fair enough. You can diss Ajax, but it's a big club. How many 19-year-olds? Because there's a handful with that. How many 19-year-olds can say they've played 100 senior appearances in like maybe 2.5 years? They can't. And you're still only 19. It's a World Cup year. You're only going to get better. I'm not going to quite say you're not going to develop without pressure, because I don't know how he's viewed in Holland, and Ajax a big club, and you're playing at a high level, but stay there, stability. You could get your move after the World Cup. So we're going to have to watch that one, people. This is where the bulk of the rumors came from. We've gone over that. This was in relation to Rodrygo. There was nothing new there. In relation to Morgan Rodgers and Aston Villa's PSR situation, I ain't read this yet. And Luca Dean, I wonder if Arsenal tried to sign you, because you was pictured at the Emirates a few months ago. Maybe it was just, I don't know, some footballer chit-chat, but yeah. And this is what I mean. There's several players that Aston Villa are going to let go before Morgan Rodgers, in my opinion. And you can see several names there. I'm just scrolling to Morgan Rodgers. Rodgers is Villa's greatest asset. He has several Premier League suitors who know they'll have to pay a sizable fee to land him. Villa do not want to sell Rodgers owing to his talent ceiling, importance, and that he can play multiple positions across the front line, which is handy in a trim squad next season, yet money talks. Villa will solve their PSR at the click of a finger. Rodgers would provide a considerable profit on the 15 million they paid for him from Middlesbrough in January of 2024. You see how it pays to do scouting? In January of 2024, 15 mil. In June of 2025, it's fair to say he's worth a lot more than 15 mil. Ollie Watkins, ironically, probably the most realistic player we're going to get from Aston Villa, if anything. We know Villa rejected 40 million offer from us in January. The club were not pleased with the timing of the story surfacing. Again, despite seeing John Duran depart, there's still speculation over his future. And ironically, I wouldn't be against Ollie Watkins if you bring me a Sesko or definitely a Gyökeres, if I'm honest. And I think that's the only way we get him. Either that or it goes left in our pursuit of Gyökeres and Sesko. So we'll have to see how that goes. Gyökeres makes final threat to Sporting. I think we've gone over this already, but yeah, that's the latest where that's concerned. And finally, well, the news is concerned. Miles Lewis-Skelly, and again, it was reposted by Charles Watts. Miles Lewis-Skelly formally signed his new contract yesterday in front of a number of family members, as well as some Haaland and Arsenal guests, which is music to my ears. Alternative striker. Question, DG. I'm just as interested in Berta's selling powers. Edu hot dumped on by our fans. Let's see if the same applies to Berta. He's going to have to get some sales done, but I don't know how much you're meant to do. Like, I don't think you're going to have the greatest of summers where you're going to bring in all these stars, get rid of all these stars, sign all these deals before the start of the season. So I'd really judge him in a year's time, but you are right, man, in that regard. Zinchenko leaves. DG, what do you think of Eze? Bring him to the carpet, man. If Hato joins, who leaves? Well, people are leaving already, isn't it? Really? Like, Zinchenko's probably cutting. Kivior is a situation I'm watching closely because in terms of the squad, I want to keep Kivior. And I hope that he said, you know what, I've got a swagger back. I've played in my natural position as centre-half, got to run the games. Maybe the gaffer gives me opportunities owing to the injuries you've seen defensively. But I also reckon he thinks, you know what, gave it a good go at making it at Arsenal. As romantic as it was to play against Real Madrid, the last couple of years, the only time I really get football is when everyone's injured. I want to go play. And when you look at it, Kivior is probably one of the only players that could make us some decent money. So I guess I just reckon Kivior is going to say, I want to cut. But for argument's sake, Kivior is the defensive option, could cut. Zinchenko could cut. Unfortunately, Tomiyasu and Calafiori, you can't bet on them really staying fit. Tierney's gone, if that helps. Need some defensive reinforcements. For Hato, though, I don't know how much game time there is there, but I would love to have Hato and Miles Lewis-Skelly as potential defense, left back options, and obviously Calafiori as well. Obviously, people can mix and blend. We all want to see Miles Lewis-Skelly in midfield, but we need depth, man. It goes without saying. Clearly, we need depth. People in the chat are more fraudulent than KSE. Hit the likes, please. Rodrygo prefers move to City over Arsenal. Where did you see that? I wouldn't begrudge him. It's Pep Guardiola over there, but where did you see that? I would sell Tomiyasu before Kivior, even though, in my opinion, he's a better player. There's no market for Tommy, though. At this moment in time, you're not fit, and you're not projected to be fit until, what did they say, October? Now, we've seen people buy injured players before, but really, I love Tomiyasu, but I'll be real, you got one more season, man. For me, you got one more year. Like, I need to see you fit, man, because there's no point me singing your praises if you're never available. You can play all across the back four. You're a great option to potentially start games or do little smart things like what we saw a couple years ago where he man-marked the hell out of Salah, especially when we need to close out games, but it's issues. Gyökeres has left Nike and signed for Adidas, who are also sponsors of Arsenal. Carlos, so again, fuel to the fire with the rumours. And you were right, man. I mean, if I was Edu, I don't know if there's NDAs and that, but you need to go and do some interviews and tell your side of the story, man. Because everyone just blames you. We don't miss any physically. Rice is physical enough. Zubamendi is not soft. People don't really watch him. He won the most possession in La Liga. They don't necessarily mean you're physical. And to be fair, with Partey going, I more want an 8, like a Rangers sort of play style, or Santi Cazorla. Easier said than done. I wouldn't say that I would be against the 6, or we don't need a 6, but I would rather another 8. But you are right. Rice can play there and all those things. Hi, my guy, DG. How are you, my friend? Hope you're enjoying your day. Regards all the way from Iceland. Oh, all this time you're from Iceland. Big up the Icelandic ones, man. Shout out Iceland. I'm good, man. It's always a pleasure to be here talking about Arsenal with you lot. I don't think we get Rodrygo, but if we do, it'll be late in the window. I hope I'm surprised. I didn't think we was gonna get Mesut Ozil, Alexis Sanchez, Aubameyang. Maybe me being pessimistic on these big bad signings is a positive, but I can't see it. And it's not for me to see. I'm just a normal fan. I don't know Berta and Arteta and Real Madrid. I just feel, one, too many dominoes need to fall into place. In fact, one, what you just said there, it is one that is going to drag out. I'm sure if Real Madrid make a decision, I want to sell you, or Rodrygo wants to leave, naturally, you want that resolved quickly. The quicker there's no air doubt, you can continue your life. But it is one that's going to drag out, probably right until the wire or the latter stages of the transfer market. Too many dominoes need to fall in place. I've never had a conversation with Rodrygo, and I think he half steps. I think he's considered leaving. Maybe he's feeling a bit of way. He doesn't feel he's getting the love that other players do. You know, all the stuff about the position he plays, etc. But I don't think you're convinced 1,000,000%. Maybe you're considering leaving. And generally, I think, if you're him, you want to see how it plays out, at least initially with Xabi Alonso. You're probably not expecting the situation to change sooner rather than later. But if Xabi Alonso gives you some encouragement, you're not cutting. And then it comes to that point with Arsenal. Now, I understand we've got wages that need to be sorted out. We want to do the structure thing from a business point of view. Why wouldn't you want to do that? And, if you could scout players, getting Vinicius when he's in Brazil, Rodrygo, like, I don't know, Mo Salah literally just before he went to Liverpool, and you can get the Isaac when he was at Sociedad. If you can get these guys and they develop in greatness, great for us, and that's greatness for us. But I do feel we're at that stage now, and yeah, you could do that. But if you want to get to a certain level, I wouldn't say you have to shatter your wage structure, but you might have to do things a bit differently, because these players, these top players, you're going to have to pay them big bad money. You're going to have to pay, like, naturally, it doesn't matter if you're Rodrygo potentially coming to Arsenal or anywhere else, or if you're Saka, William Saliba, maybe even Gabriel Magalhaes, you're going to want top P's. Maybe even, I know it's not the same, but Thomas Partey as well. You look at, if I was to say your 5 key players for Arsenal, generally, I think we'd all have the same. There might be a couple different ones, yeah? So you say your 5 key players, like players that are central to this, and then you put on another hand the 5 highest earners. Not that I'm pocket watching or care what people get. There's a lack of correlation. So sometimes, if you want to sit at this big boy table, you have to pay the P's required. And unfortunately, I think the higher powers that control this club were a business first, football club second. But yeah, man, like you said, it will drag. And how long can it drag? Again, if you get encouragement, great. And even that, I think we could, like, I'm not here to say we're the big bad bullies and people can say Arsenal are bottlers and all of this. But if we cut the crap and just have a normal footballing conversation, we can defo sell Rodrygo a project. First things first, when you consider everything in life, London, let's be serious. London, there's bare South American things to do. There's bare South American players. If you consider everybody at Arsenal, everyone at Chelsea, all the South American dons that are here at Chelsea, at Palace, at Fulham, so on and so forth. So you and your family and wife, they can all be friends. There's an exciting project. You could be the king of this kind of castle, quote unquote. So we could sell him that. The problem is, I'm not saying these clubs would necessarily go for him, but if Rodrygo becomes available, everyone on their nan that has a couple pennies to scrape together, you're going to get involved, whether you can afford it or not, whether your season's been dead or not, whether you're in the Champions League or not. You know that to some degree, the Man Uniteds, the Liverpools, the Chelseas, the PSGs, the Arsenals, maybe even them lot down the road, you can't really sit at this table regardless, would get involved. So it's not a guarantee. So at some point, we have to go as far as we can for Rodrygo, but then we have to look elsewhere. And I'm sure, like, obviously we're in the summer now, innit? We had to have been looking at several targets. I'm sure we might have been keeping eyes and ears, because everybody know. I personally believe football's a small world. Everybody knows what's going on if you work in the world of football. If Chelsea like a player and Arsenal like a player, you get little rumblings if he's going to sign for Arsenal or Chelsea. So there might be rumblings that Rodrygo's considering his future. Maybe if Carlo Ancelotti was still there, there's something there. But you have your dream targets, whether they're possible or not. You have your emerging targets and you have your plans. What we can't have is last summer, where you're chasing Nico Williams with stunk of Rafinha. You're chasing a guy that maybe they've given you encouragement, but their first choice is not Arsenal. And then you're signing Raheem Sterling. If worse comes to worse, I'm a hypocrite because we're in win now mode. You need to go find some young G or some unknown entity with the capacity to do what we need him to do. Because players, obviously, I'm saying this and I ain't got no list of players, but players are everywhere. Next summer, we're going to get linked with a bag of wingers and centre mids, and we're going to be watching the different leagues and like, that player's great. Where's he come from? Gyokeres had to be found somewhere. Sesko had to have been found somewhere. Rodgers had to have been somewhere. You get where I'm going. And if you're not going to do that scouting thing and buy them and see the vision before, then you have to pay the going rates. And if not, the same things happen. If Partey leaves, I think the number 6 position is an emergency. Such is life. We've seen mass injuries in it. And the more that, people get injured, the players that are fit are going to be in issues. But I'm more, when I sat down and thought about it, I'm more relaxed around the 6th position than I would have thought. You can rejig things. You've got the option, which we haven't seen, of Miles Lewis-Skelly. Obviously, Zubimendi's there. Rice can go over there. I don't really want to see Marino as a 6. I'd rather him as an 8, but you could do that. Or you could, if we ain't got a 6, just play 2 8s. You know when you need to defend. You know when you need to drop deep and receive off the centre backs. Because even myself, we like tactics. We overcomplicate things. So I wouldn't be against the 6. I wouldn't be against someone that could play 8 or 6. I'm not saying necessarily Douglas Luiz, but he can do both of them, if that makes sense. A bit like what we're seeing. Well, we've been knowing Rice can be a 6. That was his bread and butter prior to Arsenal. He's playing in that role. But again, as I said, surely it raises in question, and I couldn't tell you who, but surely we could get a different profile and someone that can break lines consistently, that demands the ball. Because I actually think, similar to Rice, Zubimendi will play as a 6, but I actually think you're going to see Arteta really work some level of magic with him. I think you're going to see a lot more contributions in the final third. He actually peels out to the left a lot, which obviously at this moment in time, Rice is playing in the left 8. So are they going to switch? Are they going to switch in games? I don't know what's going on, but Arteta's got to find different solutions, and it don't matter how you do it. You got to make sure there's some level of a parade in Islington next summer. We got 65 likes, people. There's 200 of you tuned in. If you've hit the like button, God bless you. If you haven't, come on. What's all this about? If Partey leaves, need 2 minimum midfielders standard. To be fair, I think 1 in it, because it would be 2. Zubimendi's come in, my man's come in, and then even that, Odegaard's role, like. I wouldn't say it's not a priority, but I don't think in Arsenal's hand it is. I think we need some defensive reinforcements, need to get a goalkeeper or 2 over the line, left wing and up front, obviously Zubimendi. But you could reckon if you could get a 10, yes, I know you've got 15-year-old Dalman who we need to tranquillo a bit with. You've got Wanyeri. If push comes to shove, I think Kai Havertz goes in that role, but I wouldn't be against a number 10 in it. I think we just need more depth, man. But I don't think we're going to do all of this in one summer. So it is what it is. Sell Fabs for 20 mil easy. Just bite the bullet in it, really and truly. Just go Saudi. I think Partey will leave. Man said, Uncle Haterade. Who's your uncle, bro? There's only 3 humans in this world that could call me uncle. Allow that, man. But yeah, big up everyone, even you, mate. Why is this? I'm not going to say it. Arteta obsessed with mid players. Maybe because he was one. I'm not playing gaffer. I'm doing great, man. I hope you're doing better. Arsenal should sign Gyokeres immediately. I mean, it's July next week. When is July the 1st? I need to be seeing Zubimendi announced July the 1st. I'm not even saying I need to see shirts and all that. I need to go on Arsenal.com and I need to see confirmation now. Because that's what you was telling us. July the 1st, you don't want to pay, accountant stuff. You don't want to pay someone wages when they're on holiday, even though that's quite hypocritical, because last summer we was literally gate crashing weddings to sign players. These things sound good. And I'm not saying they're without logic, but it's one of them. It's the mind games. You say enough things enough times, you start rationalizing things. And I think the greatest thing is no one knows what the hell is going on for half of these clubs. We're relying on these journalists and the 1-2 ITKs. You're right, Kwame. Gyokeres is begging, but don't beg. It's disgusting. Big up yourself, Joseph, as well. As the window progresses, the more I think we need a player of Rodrygo's rug and a striker. Not going to lie, Liverpool are looking dangerous, spending like never before, and they're still linked with Isaac. That's nasty if they get Isaac with Salah and Verts. Nasty. Gyokeres ain't it. Porto let El Hilal score 4 goals. Could have been 6. Nah, those goals are Fugazi. Damn. There's pros and cons to both, because I think with Gyokeres, you can't deny it. It doesn't matter what league you've done it in. But when you're getting them goals that you've got, it's lit. Personally, when I watch Gyokeres, not saying I'm some religious follower of Gyokeres, goals are one thing, but I think you affect the game without necessarily scoring. You're a thinker's man's footballer. I think you've got the physical qualities, but there is evident issues. There is this, not that the Premier League hasn't got shoddy defending, but the level of some of them goals over there is booky. When you read a lot, apparently those in football, like perspective buyers, they reckon Gyokeres is overpriced. Maybe it's because he's 27. Maybe there's stuff to it. I don't know. Both players have got a risk. If neither works, we have to just sign a new one. I know that isn't what people are going to have to hear, but it feels like we're so cautious that we don't sign anyone, and we're very peculiar about who we sign. And sometimes it works. A lot of the time it's worked, mainly with our defenders. It hasn't worked with certain other players. And if it doesn't work, we just go again. Liverpool, who kind of operate, or FFG kind of operate like KSC, they spent big money on Darwin Núñez, who has helped them in some capacity. It wasn't the striker. That's another comment as well. You look at the players that were bagsmen in Portugal and where they went on, wasn't anything. But yeah, it didn't work out for Darwin Núñez. Move on. Still linked with something else. Pardon me. And that's why I could probably see the Sesko thing, because it doesn't matter. If you're 22, 23, God forbid, and you're stinking up the place, it's going to be a tough ask to shot you in it or get rid of you. But at the end of the day, you're 22. If you're stuck with a 27-year-old guy stinking up the place, you're in big trouble. Because a lot of people that are saying Gyokeres is the only answer, you have to go for him. Most of them will say, you know what, fair enough, it didn't work out, my bad. But there'll be some fans that are shameless. They will sit there and say, oh, Gyokeres is the only striker you could get. The minute you go and buy him, and he flops, That's why you don't get strikers from the Portuguese league. And it's going to be, for Zubamendi, there's been a lot of hype around you. It's been a long pursuit. Obviously, the dynamics of Arsenal needing to deliver, and we can see how it can get very ugly in the first 10. There's pressure on you. There's pressure on Gyokeres because of the reputation, and you're here to go. There's pressure on Sesko, kind of the same logic. Pressure, man. Pressure's a privilege, though. If you ain't got pressure, either externally or internally, you ain't really doing nothing with your life, are you, really? So, yeah, man. Hopefully we do the business. Big up you lot, though. Havertz went on a run scoring most games. We know Gyokeres would score far more guaranteed. And even that, when people are like, oh, the system and the transition and all of this, I'm not saying this without claim, yeah, but maybe I'm looking and I hear all of that. I really hear all of that. But by the same token, yeah, Marino's found a way to score some goals, albeit, weren't really that long. He found a way to score goals. Kai's found a way to score goals, probably our more consistent goal scorer over the last 2 years, give or take, excluding Saka, which probably tells you our problems. So if you're Sesko, young or whatever, but if you're Sesko and you're a cold-hearted killer, apparently you're a striker by trade, the same goes for Gyokeres. You're not going to score goals. And that goes into another thing. I think only signing people is half the job. I think people are extremely naive if you think you just let's be extreme with this example. You slap Gyokeres and you slap Rodrygo and all our problems in the final third are gone. It's not going to happen. Had Havertz got 20 goals in him, I think he does with no injuries. In the league? Nah. We're moving like that. You in the dance, waiting for gal to come to them. It's cool when you do it once, but not free dance straight, man. We were supposed to Gen press this transfer window. We might actually be doing that. Because the wickedest thing is if they go and announce a couple signings, we're happy. But again, when you're seeing what other people are doing to us as fans, you're like, oh, what's going on here, man? Especially what City and for the life we can't remember them now, Liverpool are doing. I think Arteta isn't going to sign him because he's 27. Arteta needs malleable players to worship him and never have a mind of their own. Bit harsh, but I hear it. And that's for Arteta. If you're going to realize your potential, you're going to not, it's not always going to be them young players. You're going to have those difficult see you next Tuesday players. DG people. Question DG. People forget Havertz scored 13 goals and was injured for 3 months. How many goals did Mbeumo score? No clue how Mbeumo scored. Havertz he's never going to be any cup of tea. I wouldn't have bought him. I definitely wouldn't have put him on them wages. I definitely wouldn't have put him on that salary. I can't see him leaving this summer. I think there's more people that need to leave. We're kind of at where we're at. I think you're a decent squad player. But if we're serious and we name Arsenal starting 11, strongest starting 11, yeah, I know Marino's done his thing, but exclude him for a sec. In Arteta's mind, it probably is Kai Havertz. At this moment in time with no signings, it's Havertz up front and the rest of it. Now, if we look at the left wing and up front, for that same example, those are two positions that need to be upgraded on. So Havertz, if your form's out of this world, you're going to keep your spot. But it is what it is. DG, is it true Sesko is asking for upwards of 300 grand a week? I don't know, man. There's bare rumours. I mean, you and your agent have to get the best fee, especially if Arsenal want you on a 4 or 5 year deal. But you're not in a position to be getting 300k a week. You're going to get paid handsomely, but 300 bags a week. If we sign Xavi Simons, we'd have 2 great passes already, I think you said. I do think Xavi Simons flatters to deceive. I rate him, but I think over 90 minutes and throughout a course of a season, there's several gears you could go up, but bring him. But we need to be getting this Sesko thing over the line. And Mbeumo score. Oh, yes, shit, I'm capping. Mbeumo and Visa bagged. Mbeumo would work a treat at this football club. But you're clearly going to be more of a main player at Man United than Arsenal. Smash the likes. City versus Liverpool next season. Yep, I think it's between them and we're third. But boy, Arteta wants players he can manipulate. Well, he's going to have to get out of that because these players that you've got are going to grow up one day. And if you go to what some people believe, you can be one of the best managers in the world, manage big clubs, get Arsenal to where they want, you're going to have some bastards. And even Pep. How many times did we see Kevin De Bruyne moaning and arguing with Pep? Wenger, Henry used to argue with him all the time. You need to be able to be a bit cute and clever with it. Obviously, still early days, but the appointment of Berta doesn't seem to have really altered the way we operate. One man ain't going to come and just rip up everything. This is how Arsenal operate. He's just going to have to be able to thrive within that framework. And in situations like maybe, obviously, if Arteta ever wants a next Kai Havertz, not for that transfer fee or those wages, obviously sort out the wages. Let's get better at selling. An ability to pivot as well, because we've shown a lack of ability to pivot. Sometimes it's worked. We wanted Rice, got Rice over the line. Zubimendi, we can assume that. But there's also been times you might want Nico Williams. That's your first choice target. For whatever reason, he's not landing here. And then we're scratching our heads and like, what's going on? Arteta seems to have issues coaching ego players, aka most strikers. Remember, DG, we are Goosebumps FC, so if nothing major happens, Arteta's holding smoke for the big chat. He has to. In the same way, if everyone delivers, praise everybody. Rodrygo is happening. Charlie, Cheza, I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. I'm not going to hold my breath, though. DG, Rodrygo, Sesko, Rodgers, how a great window it would be, but that's paper, you know, because they're saying, what, 40, 30, as low as 30 million, all the way to 50 for Hatto. Rodgers, I would try and do it for 50. If you're Aston Villa, you're not trying to sell him in it. You're trying to get 60, 70. Rodrygo, big money. Well, I don't think it will be our record fee, but it will be close to it. It's paper, man. Also, couldn't we sign 2 midfielders? Technically, if Partey goes, I think we will. Chelsea buys 2 strikers a season until they find a gem. Yep. Be interested to see how Nico Williams performs at Barca, to be fair, you know. I reckon Rafinha moves sent. My hot take, I think Lewandowski's role somewhat diminishes, but I think for next season, Rafinha centrally, Yamal on the right, obviously Williams on the left, the other players chipping in. I think next year you're going to start seeing, if you know, Barcelona link with Isaac, with Haaland, with Alvarez, so on and so forth. DG didn't Berta sign Felix. Where's he now? Let's see his selling power. We're going to have to see his selling power. He's at Chelsea. But to be fair, there are reports that say Berta wasn't fully behind the João Felix signing. But yeah, he's not a Messiah. He's going to get things wrong. Ego is overrated. Messi, the GOAT, had no ego. I wouldn't say ego is overrated. It fuels you. I think people conflate ego with being boastfulness, thinking you're better than someone, shouting and etc. And I'm not going to lie. Anyone that thinks Messi ain't got ego is extremely naive. You defo do. He's not shouting and whatnot, but you defo have an ego. Saka's got an ego. You need to believe in yourself. Wenger had an ego. Everyone in sports got one. DG, why aren't we in Frostman? Probably just not our flavour. Havertz probably would score close to 20 goals if he stays fit. Problem is he isn't clinical enough or has the ability to make it happen when the match is tough or very tight, like in Isaac or Gyokeres. I hear it, but like, let's get a striker. If Havertz plays enough games and he could get 20 goals, do your thing in it. Because for me, I'm more focused on throughout the course of a season, you're going to chip in. But there's them games, bro. You've all saw it. You can't just blame our lack of goals on them 14 draws. There's many different reasons for why we had 14 draws. But sometimes we just need a man to put the ball in the back of the net. PSG second leg, first 20 minutes. Had we all bagged 2 goals, we could have still went out. But the game changes. Havertz ain't that. And I do think it's a bit harsh on Havertz because you've never been clinical. So I can't really get vexed when you're tripping over your own foot. It does frustrate me, but I'm at that point of accepting players for what they are. I accept Trossard's a rotation option. I accept that Martinelli, you're a squad player. I accept that Havertz ain't going anywhere. I actually accept that whether we like Arteta or not, 15 million a year deal, you're not getting that ripped up. I accept a lot of things, especially with the players. Accept them for what they are. Place them in roles appropriately. Bring in what we're lacking, and let's keep it moving because I think we're very naive. For the last few years, there's not enough. We can talk about the many different goal scorers, sharing the goals around, 100-odd goals. I want that to stay. But when you peel back the cover and you know when push comes to shove, we know there's probably about one man in that attack that's going to get the goal, and it's going to be Saka. And if it's not that, you're probably relying on the Gabriel Magalhaes or even Declan Rice with his captain fantastic stuff. And it's very naive, man. Oh, Messi definitely the ego, man. Big up catching the cup, man. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Sign Rodrygo and Gyokeres and the league is ours. I'd feel a lot more bullish. I feel we could do this thing, but I need to see everything. I need to see the signings. I need to see Arteta being flexible with his tactics at times when it calls for it. All these things, all the things that we're lacking. If I see better, then I think we can give it our best shot. Yo, can man promote the new channel with me and SP? Of course you can, man. Make sure you're following Catch and SP. Make sure you're supporting the trenches. Post the link, man. Man's asking the questions. Post that, man. What happened to you, Catch? The group chat's going off. I'm not going to hot up anyone, but you see when we do the 5-7 aside, it's dark. Make sure you're subscribed to FamZone TV, by the way. DG, would you be mad if we signed Watkins as our forward if it meant we brought in Rodrygo, Hatto, Zubimendi, and a Saka back up? I don't think we're going to go and get, if we're signing a winger, you're stronger on the left, and you can do a thing on the right if Saka's not there. I don't think we're gonna find a winger, or we're gonna sign a winger purely because you're back up to Saka. Even Mbeumo clearly can play off the right. That's clearly a carrot, but you're probably stronger through the middle, quote unquote, or something of that ilk. So I'm not sure. I wouldn't be mad because Rodrygo, big fan. Hato, Zubamendi, I like him. I like what Ollie Watkins, but I just feel it would be underwhelming, innit? Because we're linked with Gyokeres, all them goals he's bagging, Glock 9, all of that, all the propaganda with Sesko. We know Watkins isn't the first choice, but then again, he's 29. He's an Arsenal fan. There's a sense of urgency. He is Premier League proven. If we were to sign a striker, I wouldn't be against Watkins in the squad, but we kind of covered that earlier, man. When Yeri, Saka, and Odegaard back up, Messi was full of ego. We used the word incorrectly. You don't get to that level with no ego. We all have ego, all accomplished people more so. I hear it, man. I hear it. Good point, DG. It mostly comes down to Arteta. Bro, I need to, like, if you buy designer clothes, you need to be able to rock it. That's how I feel about buying these attackers. You need to be able to put on the garms and look saucy. There's a lot that needs to go down tactically. And Arteta knows that. Now you need to make sure you do it, because if you don't get over the line, I don't know what's going to happen internally, but I know externally what we're going to be saying. I don't believe if we have a season like this year, forget the injuries and all the little nuances and stuff, just purely how the competitions ended. So second, forget how it happened, but just to make it easier. Second, semi-finals, went out the FA Cup on penalties. I know, very frustrating. And the semi-finals of the League Cup. If that happens next year, I don't think he's getting sacked. I don't. Because there's always a reason and excuses and stuff. And we're in the mode now where it's getting everybody over the line mode now. He rates ego, not laziness. Boy, gonna have to see. Arteta will probably come out after deadline day and say he's got a good feeling in his tummy going into next season. But you can feel as positive or as negative as you want. There needs to be some level of a parade in North London. That's all I know. Make sure you're subbing, man. Make sure you're subbing. Let me go on the YouTube community tab and do my rounds on that subbing thing as well. The catch up. Good name, ain't that? Let me go and subscribe. Let me also copy the link. Right, no vid. Where's the opening vid? But yeah, people, check out the link that was posted. Go support the trenches, man. DG pin catches link. Smart man. Pinned. There you go. But we're not at 100 likes. What's going on, people? You're boying it. Who knows? Maybe Madueke is coming in. He's a right-sided player. You know what the sad thing is? It's on brand. I don't even think Madueke is a bad player. Frustrating. I actually hate your ego, but like your ego. I think you've got the ego like you're the guy, but you're not the guy. But I'd rather players think they're that than them. I'm using the wrong words, but insecure, doubting yourself. I think we need a couple more players that just believe in themselves a bit more. But 50 million. And what's going to go against Madueke is you can't be telling us about goosebumps and this link and that link and you rock up with that. And again, also, shopping in Chelsea's bin. Make this man's channel an absolute monster. I appreciate that, my dude, man. Listen live to everyone that subs. Serious love. Come on. Martinelli over Madueke in that case. If the main... Why is your comment not coming out? Oh, there it is. If the main targets aren't signed, it's Berta's fault only because that's his job, just like Eddie before him. He's got to make it happen and be able to pivot. Yeah, I see Barcelona doing real FM, Foxy, man. Real life FM. Market opportunity settings. Hot take. Noah Darvik. He's a very young player. He's at Barcelona. I'll try and get him out of that. You rather have someone with Madueke's mentality than Fabio Vieira's. Fabio's a harsh one, but yeah, I'd rather listen. If it comes to, I'd rather players believe they're the guy. Like, I'd rather you believe you might be shit and believe you're the guy. Do you know how many shit players believe in themselves and they do things in football? And I've also seen players that you couldn't get the ball off them in a phone box. Great passing range, vision, skills, everything, but they don't believe in themselves. And you see, now that we're in this stage of getting over the line, I think we've got a couple of them, but we need players that when things are going well, they pat themselves on the back, yeah, but they don't get too excited. And when, you know, if you're a striker, and I know strikers are probably the weirdest of them all, but you don't think you're that amazing because you've scored 10 out of 10 goals in 10 games, but you also don't doubt yourself because you've got 1 goal in 10. even people remember was it this season or last season? For all the goals Isak scored, yeah. The first, I think it was last year that's just gone. They were saying Isak's falling off and all of that kind of stuff. Imagine he believed it. Now look, Haaland, he's gonna be a flop in the Prem. Boom, boom, boom. Scored bare goals. Then he went on a drought. They were onto him. I need, because I do think we've got those. Everyone's a confidence player, but I do think, like, I don't want to name names, captain. Jesus, Zinchenko, couple of them. I'm not gonna lie, fuck with Tomiyasu, and Tomiyasu is an extreme example, and he's not really like them. But Tomiyasu, someone said Fabio Vieira, to a degree, Martinelli. I actually think Trossard. I don't think we have enough of those like just balanced players. I think Rice is one, Gabriel Magalhaes is one, Saliba's one, young Miles Lewis Skelly's one, White's one, Timber's one. Raya showed me a lot, but even Raya, because obviously Raya came into some fuckery in it. It was all the Ramsdale, pardon my language, it was all the Ramsdale stuff. And he came out the other day in an interview and said, I think, remember the crazy game we had against Luton? He said that was his worst game, but I never saw that. I think Raya's got that. And I think too much of the players we bet on, and there's a certain level we come to expect, is too much from our defenders and Rice, if I'm honest. Give or take, couple names might have been missed out. I need to have that same level of assurance in our attackers. Ultimately, goals win games. 38 Premier League games. Sometimes we're going to win when we deserve to. We're going to lose when we play amazing. We're going to lose when we deserve to. We're going to draw when we deserve more or less. But there is a degree. I'll guarantee you, not to slag off Liverpool, but if you ask Arne Slot and you ask them Liverpool players, throughout the last season, there must have been games. Tactics were shit. Players were playing shit. Everything's going wrong. Just got out of there with 3 points. We need to have that. Of course, we've shown we can grind out results in that regards, but it's got to go to the next level. If we want to keep doing this, mashing up Real Madrid and City, top 6 record, decent football team now, we've got it. If we want to get over that level, boy, this guy Sesko is negotiating in bad faith. This ain't Brian. What do you mean? Shout Rashid. But they all wanted to leave because we weren't serious. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Where's Lord Bentner when we need him? Even him, nah, I can't lie. Bentner was just shit, fam. Like, and that's when I knew Arsenal fans were crazy. I can't believe the love interest some Arsenal fans had with Bentner. Do you know how many shots he saved us? Bentner was so shit. Football's not fair, man. Clearly a good footballer to us commoners, but Bentner is rubbish, man. And it's bad mind of me. But remember when we got bopped 5-1 against Spurs and Adebayo started fighting him? I was saluting that. Madueke for 30 M's on the bench, not bad. But does he want to be on the bench? Or do you want to go to another club where you're going to play? Do you think Sesko disrespected us by trying to use us as a stepping stone? Naturally, but I don't think we're a stepping stone club, but we're not Real Madrid. I saw Man United win everything with Cristiano Ronaldo. I still want to go Real Madrid. Sesko's actually previously said a dream of his. Trent achieved everything there. I still want to go Real Madrid. Omri, I want to go Barca. Cesc from the jump, I want to go Barca. It's the natural evolution of life. So I understand it. When you actually read into Sesko, he reads a lot of self-help books. I like his mentality and how he looks at stuff. So maybe he's plotting out his future and whatnot. But at the end of the day, you can have that ambition. If you do your job, become one of the best strikers in the world, Haaland probably wants to go Madrid or Barca one day. And City knew that. They gave that man a release clause at a point. He probably knows that. Go and do that. Have that ambition. Score the goals. The rest takes care of itself. Me, I'm not on that release clause thing. We need to be able to negotiate what we need to negotiate. And again, clearly Arsenal know that, because one big carrot beyond the obvious around Sesko is longevity. I don't quite think he would be our striker for 10 years. I don't think that would be the case. But it's all about it's about longevity. Be here for 5 or 6 years. It's all about resale value. Obviously, if you develop and become that great player and you've got resale value, there might come a time where we found the next Sesko, the next Gyokeres, and you need to keep it moving. So probably, but when I remove the fan badge, it's not that deep. The release clause thing, forget about that. I'm not on that. You're going to have to take that out with someone else. I don't know what all that's about. I actually respect Sesko wanting to look ahead. I don't think he's good enough, but that shows his attitude is good. DG, who are the 5 worst Arsenal players you remember? William Gallas. All 5, really? William Gallas, off the top of my head. Boy, there's been some shit, man, still. William Gallas. Raheem Sterling, to be fair. Runnison. Well, you put me on a spot, something that certain people are going to avoid criticism. It's escaping my mind now, man. A couple man are gonna get allowed, man. But yeah. Arsenal are not known for shopping at all unless it's a lower than Carla price. Pathetic club right now, just big on talk and promises. Champions League football attracts world-class players. But seems like his agent and club working against Tesco, or I think he means Tesco. Everybody's playing games, bro. Arsenal are playing, it's negotiations. Arsenal are probably playing a bit of games. Leipzig are playing a bit of games. Sesko and his camp are playing a bit of games. I think, regardless of if he signs for Arsenal or not, Leipzig, you might get money, but the longer it drags out, boy. But there's a market for Sesko. It seems like it's just us at the moment, but you've been linked with everyone. Remember last year? Sanogo. I can't diss Sanogo, though. I can't diss Sanogo because you stood up to in an FA Cup semi-final. You were shit, but you stood up to, Scalacci. Oh, my God. Yeah. Scalacci's there. Don't disrespect El Nene. El Nene is not one of the best players that played for our club. He's definitely not up there for the worst. The Zlatan comparison has got to Sesko's head. He even started acting like him. Who are you? To be fair, though, you got to be able to do that, man. Big up the catch up. Make sure you're subscribing. DG, on using us, didn't on reuse us as a stepping stone, bro. It is what it is. A football career is short. You could win everything at a club like Trent. You could do the Arsenal thing, unfortunately, where Henry had the great memories. The Champions League was the one. It's not going to happen here, especially during the early Emirates era. It is what it is. This is why I try not to get too emotionally attached. It is what it is. And like you said, with the Nasris and all of them, clearly we were just on selling. Do you want to win Prems? Go keep it moving. This is something. Pepe? Nah, that's nasty. That's nasty. I know Pepe was signed for big money. Pepe is definitely not top 5 worst players I've seen play for Arsenal. I don't even think Denis Suarez. No, he didn't. Henry left because we couldn't win champs. Get him champs. Career short, man. Aye, names. Gallas the worst for me, though. There's nobody worse that's played for Arsenal than Gallas. Because these lot, even though I think you're crap, you might have tried, didn't it? The way you acted as a captain, you permed Mohican, you wearing the 10 shirt, that should have told us don't sign man from Chelsea. Who have we signed from Chelsea that's actually worked? Not the academy grads. Who have we actually signed? We did a little thing with David Luiz. It weren't the best, it weren't the worst. Shout out David Luiz as well. Got a lot of respect for you as a player. David Luiz. Lassana Diarra cut after 6 months. William, the less said, the better. Sterling, the less said, the better. Gallas, the less said, the better now because he's pissing me off now. Check, large up yourself. But the better check that we got was Fugazi. Kepa, well, you ain't even got through the door, so I'm allow you. We've done a thing with Kai, but come on, man. We fleeced ourselves. Chelsea didn't fleece us. Nobody told us to spend 65 million on that. William, horrible, man. Big up William for, what was it, against Fulham? He got like 3 assists in a row or something. Jorginho, no, you know what? Jorginho was calm. That was, out of all the Chelsea signings, that was the one I couldn't understand where people were losing their shit. I understand it. We're going from Caicedo to Jorginho, but Jorginho was all right, man. I can't say Jorginho was bad, but we need to stop shopping there. Can Fulham say the same about buying Arsenal players? Probably, but with the greatest of respect to Fulham, they're not trying to do what we're trying to do. Chelsea and Arsenal, I don't want to talk about their recent history because they've won Europe. We ain't, but Chelsea and Arsenal are trying to achieve the same things. Both teams, both fan bases, I guess, would love to win the Prem, would love to win the champs, do all of those things. I'm sure Fulham fans as well, but that's not their thing. Cech weren't good for us. Cech was not good for us. He was not good for us. He was not good for us. Sorry, you're a Newcastle fan. You're not going to tell me. Lassana Diarra cut after 6 months. Industry plant. Park Chu Young, Rio Mayachi. There's bare guys that we signed that never kicked balls. Jorginho weren't bad. Senderos. Nah, I can't diss Senderos. Stood up to AC Milan away and Real Madrid. Sylvester, I was on banter, you know. Prime Lionel Messi, Camp Nou. We've taken Sol Campbell out of retirement and bought United Sylvester. And that was our centre-half pairing. Hey, Chamaka, dream seller. He looked so good during the Emirates Cup. Then we signed him, stunk up the place. Now, Sylvester was better than the Gallas. I'll down that hill. Fully agenda with Gallas. It's been 20 years since we had an epic team. I'm counting. Sad, isn't it? William made me sit out 2 seasons. No, Gallas, when he was doing up Crimea River like Justin Timberlake against the Blues, I knew he didn't have the minerals to be captain. That's when I started to realize, Arsene, you're doing magic mushrooms, man. You're doing mad stuff. Why did you? I would. That is the first thing I would love. You don't know how much Arsene Wenger means to me. But before we talk about football and life and philosophy, and he's my white granddad, I just have to ask you. I'm not even going to ask you why he signed William Gallas. I don't care to know. Why did he control the number 10? Did you give it to him? Did he ask for it? Who sanctioned that? Why was it sanctioned? What's going on? Lickstein or Meady? Oh, yeah, another one, Meady. Jenkins is one of the worst, 100%. But that's some Arsenal fans got this weird love agenda with certain players, bro. Love Bentner, love Jenkins. And don't get twisted, Jenkins, you lived the dream, but you were shit, bro. I would trade places with you. I'm sitting here chatting shit on YouTube. I'm calling you shit. You've earned money playing Premier League football. You've played for Arsenal Football Club. You scored for Arsenal Football Club. So you're better than us, but you were still shit. Lucas Perez. You could tell Wenger never rated him. Like, you could tell that one you didn't, but you didn't rate him. Like, you could tell he didn't rate Lacazette as well. Truthfully, 6 months later, who came in. You made a quick profit on Diarra, ended up at Madrid and Pompey. Big up Harry Redknapp. Alexis was an absolute baller. Wenger lost his mind, man. This is where we needed David Dean. Wenger was going too crazy, just doing crazy things. And I would love to know the truth about Cesc Fabregas, because Wenger is saying there was no offer made. Cesc is saying, I wanted to roll. I understand it, Wenger. If you was on this bad boy team, once you snake me, you're gone for life. I hear it, but pardon me, I'd need to know, man. Because you're telling me we got Ozil and all these guys. Kim Kelstrong, can't diss him. Helped us in the FA Cup. Won't diss him. We did pick at the bin sometimes, don't we? We got to stop that. If you could have lunch with one past or present Arsenal personality, who would it be? Alex Scott. Arsene Wenger, David Dean, Thierry Henry. Yeah, man said catch this guy. I was taught a rule in school: like the girl that likes you. Gyokeres wants to come, let him come. You know what? Yeah, some of the soundest advice. Ian Wright. Yeah, I'd want to chat to Dennis. Oh, you know what? Fuck it, Ray Parlour, man. Could have some beers, have a laugh. Oh, Ray Parlour, man. 100% Ray Parlour. In the present team, Declan Rice or Saka or Miles Lewis-Skelly. Fox in the box, Francis Jeffers. linked with Rodrygo. We'll sign the Chelsea reject. Makes sense. Boy, Alex Scott, man. No, Alex Scott was a pioneer, bro. Like, she was a pioneer. I'm just keen to know about her footballing philosophies. It'd be nice to think about football, to speak about football with Alex Scott. Unique qualities, all that. Alex Scott, man. Shit. Anelka. We can always get Rob Holding back. Can't diss Rob Holding because you weren't the best. And I always say this, like, whether we lose to Liverpool and City and all these guys, but when they score goals, they're scoring proper goals. Like, Rob Holding and Callum Chambers used to hit each other in the head and they're just like Bambi on ice. But I can't diss you, Holding, because you stood up tall in the FA Cup final. But one thing that peed me off, 2022-23, when you're doing the winking thing, it's not making sense, man. So Campbell said Wenger didn't like bringing players back that have left, but brought Sol back due to how he trained before signing the second time. Sesko signed to Arsenal. I mean, I ain't seen that, but I hear it. Haleb underrated. Haleb was a baller. You're right, man. What's the daily waffle today? We've gone over it, man. Rodrygo, Gyokeres, yada, 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 man. Timestamp, soon land. Arsenal do need a good forward. Immediately. Nasri deboed Gallas on the team bus. I can't lie. I hope so, Nasri, but I can't judge a book by its cover, but you really... Nasri can't move to Gallas. You might be able to give verbal, but I reckon Gallas punches him up. But Gallas was a mercenary from the jump. Don't you remember when the French team was crap? What World Cup was it? I think they went out in the group stages and Gallas was at the center of it. Wenger smoking crazy stuff, man. My granddad, though. Arsene let Henry back on loan. Van Persie for me. Unpopular opinion, I weren't vexed with Van Persie. Obviously, when I got my fan cap on, you don't want to see him go United. You saw him win, Guard of Honor, all that stuff. But I think Van Persie was crystal clear. He wanted to leave. There was offers from abroad. We're moving shaky. Alex Ferguson is saying stuff to him. It makes sense. I want to win the Prem. He then gave out that recruit, that that letter where he said, "I'm trying to do one thing, Arsenal are trying to do another," which mimics a lot of the players. Cesc Fabregas had an interview recently where he said, "When I was at Arsenal, I always felt that we had a good team, but he never, not Wenger, but he never felt from those above that we truly wanted to kick on and do stuff." If nothing changes, nothing changes, man. I can't be vexed. Like, if anything, Sagna, because Sagna was a liar. We all knew he was leaving for free. He snaked it. Yeah, Gallas a skep, man. You play for Chelsea, Arsenal, and Spurs. You can't trust him. Lunch with Parlour is a day session in the boozer, linking Charlie, and then a kebab at 3 a.m. or hospital food. Ray Parlour will be, it'll be fun, man. It'll be fun. Or Tony Adams, to be fair, man. Great story. Big up. Do you do this new show daily? Love it. Much better than doom scrolling. Appreciate that. Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Subscribe, notification bells, follow on the socials. Come on, man. Get to know. Welcome. And welcome. Mustafi was crap. DG, how many players left us on one big trophies? Bear. Henry, Fabregas, Nasri. Who else? Bear. Cole, Ashley Cole. That one hurt, to be fair. Quite a few. There was a time when players used to leave us and it got worse for them. But yeah, big up yourself. Is it Zafa? Forgive me for mispronunciations, but welcome. Suka, Paul David, Arshavin. You know what? Yeah, Arshavin would cook for us in this team. Mkhitaryan wasn't great. Yeah, that's the worst swap deal in Premier League history. Alexis was crap. Mkhitaryan was meaty. I think we got the slightly better deal, but there was both losers, man. Both losers in that. I thought Alexis was going to bang for United, but then in hindsight, I think I said this yesterday, he left in January, innit? Those 6 months prior to him leaving, he was shit. So maybe that was something. It kind of mimics. Do you remember Fernando Torres? I'm sure another one, he went Chelsea in January, whenever year it was, yesteryear, better yet. He was shit, and then he went there and he stunk up the place. Boy, didn't Alexis leave after that Everton game where it was him, Lacazette, someone else? Benayoun, boy. Same, can't be vexed when context is taken into account. And I've always been able to look at things without and I know football's tribal, but without the fan cap. You've got one career to live, and at the end of the day, even if you committed to staying at Arsenal and all of these things, once you leave, no one cares. Like, obviously, I don't really want to go over Arsene Wenger and everything, but Wenger is very quick to tell us about how I stayed and this and that, and we know why he wanted to stay. Certain things couldn't run at other clubs as much as I love you, but that's all great. You're going to have to now sit here and think, oh, what would it have been like managing the England national team or Real Madrid? He actually said Man United tried to get him and Real Madrid and all these things. That's why Trent, people can say what they want. When the dust is settled, I think most Liverpool fans ain't got no venom for him. It's mainly the social media ones. And I think when the dust is settled, he'll still be talked about. Because it's Trent that will sign that deal. Once you get to 32 and you want a 2-3 year deal, Liverpool are saying it's something different. You get your testimonial. No one cares. It's you that's going to be retired and think, what would it have been like to go Madrid, whether it bangs or not? It's dark, man. DG, you ever collab with Curtis Shaw? We used to. DG, I'd love Sanchez in this team, then forget Gyokeres and Sesko. Oh, I can't lie. Alexis false nine's a crime scene, and he could help Martinelli learn to get his head up, but imagine Alexis Sanchez left wing, either Sesko or Gyokeres, and you've got Bukayo. We're doing all right. And you got the Martin. I know it's mad, but the Martinellis, the Havertz, the Trossards, the supporting acts. Wenger had too much power, but unpopular opinion, and you're right, Wenger needed that power, bro, because where the hell would we have been without him? He worked a miracle at the Emirates for us. Building the stadium, keeping us in the champs, working with scraps. Don't get it twisted. I think the problem with Wenger towards the end, he couldn't separate what was best for Arsenal and Arsene. You're here too long, you're too entwined with it. Miss David Dean. David Dean used to pull him back from the madness. We let the mad scientists do the madness. Gazida's doing the madness. Kroenke got his teeth in the club. Yeah, man. It is what it is in that regards. He did. It's a mixed bag, man. I like how you keep it real and bias free many times as well, DG. Keep it up, my friend. I also like it when you get real grown Arsenal fans on, like Kenny, Jezza, DJB, people who have been fans for long. Love that, man. Love speaking with DJB and Kenny Ken in particular, man. They say things, I'm like, bro, in 1975, this and that. And you can see their heart bleeds for Arsenal. And I like it because I like to speak to everyone. You can be Arteta in, Arteta out, balanced, journalist. But I like to have the real fans. Because Kenny ain't trying to be no journalist and whatnot. He's not trying to do the negative thing or the positive. DJ be the same. They just care about Arsenal. So it's nice to see that. And that's actually a frustrating thing about content, because people say, oh, we collabing with this one and that one and whatever. Because they've got different one. Just because they're saying it don't mean I have to share that opinion. I've got my own opinions. I don't have to agree with it. But if that's what they genuinely believe, I like that too. It makes for great discussion. 3, there's people that might think the same way. 4, just because I feel one way and you feel one way, you might say something. I'm like, oh, that's right. And that's football. We've all in WhatsApp groups. We've all got friends. We've all got family. We've all got friends that are deluded. We all got friends that are mad negative. We all got friends that are doing the context thing, or family members, etc. How boring would life be if we all thought the same? And if I'm honest, I feel the YouTube thing is moist, because really we're just talking about football, and I feel there's too much agendas and cliques, and it's just weird, bro. It's just weird, man. Let's do an Arteta in out poll. So yeah, man, Arteta having power is worse than Wenger having power. I hear it. DG, we should have got Dean back. What would have been, eh? What could have been? Berta's going to have to be the most important guy in that role since David D. Not that there's been a big list. And I like Berta. I'm not dissing Berta. I've actually got a lot of confidence in Berta, but just because you're into the club. But I've gone beyond gassing up the directors and whatnot. I like what Berta's doing, just because, and I know the context is different, but Raul Sanye, his connects and all of this, nothing really happened. I know we got Saliba, nothing really happened. Missling that Diamond Eye scouting thing, it was making sense. Nothing really happened. So I have to see, man. Which one Arsenal personality is persona non grata to you? If that's not a spelling mistake, I'll be real. I don't know what you're saying there, my guy. You're using too many big words for me. But what we can do, that's a madness. Unwelcome person. Could you use it in a context? So I like being here with you, look, you learn things. Persona non grata is a Latin term. Yeah, I mean, it would be Latin, meaning unwelcome person in diplomacy. It refers to a foreign diplomat who is no longer acceptable. So a player an ex-Arsenal player who I've got no time for. Gallas, like William Gallas. Like, I hate Gallas. I don't know you as a man, and if you want to come on the channel, yeah, content. I might hate you a bit less. William Gallas. If that answers your question, William Gallas. Because there's plenty of players I think are crap, that, but I've never had to doubt their integrity. I don't rate you as a person in football in terms, Gallas. I do big you up because I'm sure I went to the Emirates. I'm sure Gallas actually scored the winner against Chelsea once in the Emirates. I'm sure I was there. Been to so many games. Wenger love Gallas. Oh, less of that about big words for Trini. We're not doing that. Shout out to Trini Bads. Appreciate the follow, my dude. Deluded Gooner 04 on them socials. Trossard against Bayern for me was the last straw. You just don't know what you're going to get with the guy. Hot and cold performances. That's why you are a rotation option, occasional starter, squad player. You're not a regular. Quick Google, man. You know what they say, man? If you don't understand, ask a question. You can be an idiot for 30 seconds and then a genius. I'm sure David Dean is the reason Kroenke's bought shares initially, but I don't actually think they're as bad as people say. I mean, yeah, because David Dean saw the angle. We need to get American investment. We need to get a stadium. Even when it came to Wenger, we need to get a madman from foreign to come and change things. DG, the difference is you see positives and negatives. They don't. Football's an emotional sport, man. Just accept it, man. You're all right, though. Robin Van Persie, for me, it hurt when he left. The only thing that I would say, if anything close to hurting in relation to Robin Van Persie, would have been, he was always a good player. We all remember the volley against Charlton. He scored some very good finishes. But it felt like we only got 2, 3, maybe max, like 2 years of that real Van Persie. So, yeah, naturally, Persisi cuts. Arshavin was hella trash. You're capping. Definitely weren't trash. Towards the end, yeah, definitely wasn't. Big up, Ozil. We need 3 top wingers, but we got 1 year in Dolman that will probably shock this season if they get minutes. I'd have no doubt. Max Dowman's going to, train with the first team. He's going to probably make a couple of appearances, but there's 38 Premier League games, however many in all comps, 2 games a week, 3 games in 10 days. Do you really think Max Dowman at this moment in time, physically and all of that stuff, with the internal pressure, as much as we want to see young players, do you really think he's going to play a significant role like that next season? I hope I'm wrong. It's naive. Yeah, Arshavin just started drinking too much and had too many pies, man. He got fat, he got lazy. But the first initial period of him at the carpet, big up Arshavin, innit? Wenger was overly invested and stayed for his own needs and not for Arsenal. There you have it, man. Henry went down for me after signing for Barca, after calling them cheats. I mean, two things can be true. Barcelona's lit, can't beat them, join them. Stayed for an extra year, to be fair, and Arsenal actually got less money. Henry could never do no wrong to me. So Henry, I understand it. At the end of the day, you wouldn't have won the Champions League, played under Pep. Would you have won the champs at Arsenal? No, but you're still a legend anyways. You got one career, man. Like, as long as if you're like, because I mentioned Trent, there's Henry, there's Van Persie, there's all of this stuff. As long as you can look back in your career and say the highs, the lows, I've got no regrets. Like, I wanted to do that. There's no what ifs, what could have, would have, should have. Of course, there's going to be an element of that. You can have no regrets. And I can't fault that. A career short. You're never going to get to be a footballer again. So I get it. Rosicki just couldn't stay fit, man. I'm all for us getting Gyokeres. I just worry more about if Arteta can get the best out of him. He's going to need to. You need to. You need to. I don't want to hear it's not his player and all of that. It might very well not be your player, your first choice, but the guy's a good striker. Make it happen. Make it happen. Big up the RB. It's a shame with him, though, man. Just couldn't stay fit. Catch. Henry, Van Persie, Cess, Sagnot, Nasri, Clichy, all right to leave. Can't blame them. They all ended up winning Prems and the rest of it. I'm glad he joined Barca. It elevated Henry's name further. But what's happening with Zinchenko? Is he now considered? Huh? Did you just make that word up? I'm not even going to type that on Google. I hope you didn't just make that word up. You're acting, Foxy. You're acting. I bet you just found out about that word. You're acting. Fucking hell, this is a word. See, I was gonna say yes, yeah, but I thought it was a trick. I thought it would have been I thought it was this, but I thought it would have been a trick question. Like, you might have been saying he's great. You know, can you actually spell that though? You can't spell that. Wouldn't say he's worthless. Like, if Zinchenko stayed, you could be used for the squad, but you need to cut, man. I don't know why Cess isn't considered a legend. Cess ain't a legend to me. You're in folklore, but legend for me is Tony Adams, Omri, Burkamp, them kind of guys there. If I'm honest, you're in the realm. I wouldn't say you're a legend for me. You're one of the bros, but legend. He could hit the ground running, but it's a 15-year-old that is developing physically, 15 turning 16. You're going to have to get to the physical demands of playing at that intensity and up to speed, because the technical quality is there. It's now learning the tactics. It's the speed of thought. And he needs to be given that facility to develop without that kind of pressure, as much as there's pressure anyways. Recovery as well. If you got 2 games a week, 3 games in 10 days, we play on a Monday, then we're playing on a Wednesday. Exaggeration. Young boy's got to recover very quick. It's naive. I'm not saying he won't score in his debut and have some magical moments, but it's naive if you think he's getting 20 appearances and playing a main part like that. Needs bedding in, man. Just cool, man. Would you sign Gyokeres regardless of his heading ability? Teams would be comfortable forcing crosses from us whilst congesting the midfield and wide areas. Yeah? Yeah. If you score 1 million goals, I don't care that you ain't scored 2 headers. Who's the bigger legend, Omri or Righty? They're both legacy at this club in their own right. For me, Thierry Henry. Vela and Silva meant to be legends. He's brilliant. He's technically brilliant, don't get me wrong. Exactly, but he's 15. Guys, don't call people stupid, man. Chill out, man. Guys are just asking questions. Relax, man. We don't do the disrespect here. It's a shame Omri missed winning CL so close and we let it slip. I thought we was going to win in 2006. I'm not going to lie. I thought we was going to do it. No, I can remember them games vividly and disappointed to lose the final. But I was proud of my boys, man. 13 minutes. Before I die, we need to beat Barcelona in the final. And you know what? I want to win in the same fashion as them. Revenge, right? For me, I hear it, though. But I think Omri's legacy is bigger than just Arsenal. I'm not saying Ian Wright's isn't, but it's more centered around Arsenal, and not even just Arsenal. Like, you know what I'm talking about, the culture and like a working man going and being a footballer and whatnot. But Henry's legacy within football is bigger, bro. Like, and I'm 30. I'm always gonna gear towards Henry. If you were to speak to people slightly earlier, they're gonna say Ian Wright. Big up Ian Wright, though. We can never diss Ian. We can never ever diss Ian Wright, man. My God.
Deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Man.
Come on, Ian. Can never boy him. DG, who's the best defender you've seen at Arsenal 2000 to today? Either Adams or Sol Campbell. Now. It's easy to say that, but when we're in key games and teams exploit it, it can cost us. We already resort to forcing crosses because we can't break teams down. So learn how to break teams down. And there's other man that can head up. Every player's got weaknesses. More like cult heroes, but they would have been without the injuries. Adams was better than Campbell. That's why I said them two. I'd say either one of the two are the best defenders I've seen for us. If we're talking centre defenders. Fabregas stabbed us in the back when he went to Chelsea. Nah, I don't think he did. Of course, it's Chelsea, it's the pagans and whatnot. But if Arsenal are not offering, Conte's making sense. You know about London. Chelsea are telling you what they're going to go and do. It makes sense when you cut emotions. And he won stuff. And let's not forget, Cesc Fabregas is a bastard. Let's not forget the stuff he was saying when we was playing Barcelona and the antics he was doing. He had that nasty edge to him, and I respect him for that. DJs, David Ornstein and Ian Wright in tune with the channel, say no more, soon go global. I don't know about that, but I'm going to give it every tooth and nail, man. For you. Look, DG, your favorite Henry goals in the hybrid era, multiple against the one against Liverpool where he drew past the whole team. He scored a very good goal against Leeds. Well, he's done that twice for me. He scored a couple great ones against Man United. You know what? For me, though, it'd be Real Madrid away because I can remember the game vividly. And I scored that exact same goal. Anyone that went to my secondary school, that same year I went to secondary school, and I basically, like, my form was the shittest in it. Like, do you know what interform is? Like, one side of it, you got 2 sides of the year, then there's a final between whoever wins the most. The same year that Henry did that for Arsenal and the same way it panned out, I did that for my form. My form was shit. I had no ballers. I dragged my team to that final and I scored a goal like Thierry Henry's against Real Madrid. Like, Henry's my guy, man. He scored a numerous great goals against Liverpool. It's Thierry Henry, mate. It's too difficult. I'd say a volley against Fabian Barthez if you had to. DG is already global. I'm in Oregon. Shout out the American tugs, them, man. Liverpool was good, Henry. Fabry was offered to Arsenal from Barca, so he wanted to play for us, and Wenger said no, so don't blame him. Which goal was better, Jack Wilshere's against Norwich or Van Persie's against Charlton? The volley thing. I love them kind of goals there, just volley and whatnot. But from a team perspective, that was saucy. When was the last time we saw a couple passes like that? Yep, the goal against Leeds where he's tripping over and still puts it in, crazy goal. He scored 4 in that game. Wenger was too fixed in his views. DG, what are your favourite Arsenal kits? 02 red shirt, 02 yellow with the like this one, not like this, but with the blue collars. Gold JVC, what was it? No, it's not even JVC. It's been so long ago. Was it JVC? I thought Dreamcast, whatever the hell it was when we won, you know I'm talking about, the gold kit. I never had it, but I always loved that. To be fair though, there was a gold kit we had in the Puma days, like when Mesut Ozil and them kind of players were there. I never got it, but I like that one. DG is Saka, the best player we've ever produced. I'll be real, I think he's up there. I still maintain, I think in terms of what I still think, well, you got Adams, you got Jack Wilshere. Like, Jack Wilshere could have been something, man. He was something, even with all these injuries. He won the FA Cup, played for Arsenal Football Club, played for his country, scored for his country, did his thing at West Ham. But Jack Wilshere was something else, man. And then, yeah, you've got Ashley Cole. We have to wait to the end of his career, man. So boring transfer window. Leeds are getting more players than us. I hear it. DG, whose Scorpion kick goal was better, Mkhitaryan's or Giroud's? Giroud's catalogue of goals and assists for clubs and country. Mad so. Oh, how's Gary Lineker catching streets? Would you rather have vegan Bellerin or bald Rob Holding? There must be someone in the academy. When did Bellerin turn vegan though? If there's a correlation between Bellerin turning vegan when he was actually half decent, not that I care about what he eats, then I'll keep him. But flipping hell, mate. Neither, man. DG Wright, he cried when he left us. He was late 20s when he joined. Cut him open. He's Arsenal and Henry isn't. That just sounds like a heartbroken ex. There's no way you can tell me Thierry Henry, and I refuse. I rebuke that. You're allowed your opinion. I'm allowed mine. If you really are a real gunner, you can't sit here and say Henry is not Arsenal. Let's cut the nonsense. Let's cut the nonsense. They're both Arsenal. Giroud was better for Chelsea. I hear that, but the one thing that there's something Chelsea did and France did that we didn't do with Giroud. He's a facilitator. Obviously, he can score goals, but he's a link man. People play off him. If he scores, great. We're looking at him to score 20 goals. Wenger told her, and I think one thing that harmed Giroud is that we're kind of doing that now. They sat here and said he's here to play with Van Persie. Then what did Wenger say the minute Van Persie left? Oh, I knew Van Persie was leaving. He's actually going to be this. Hopefully, Dalman gets his minutes. So apart from that, there's some good players, but you can never really see it, man. Yeah, Wright caps on TV. Let Ian Wright get the TV bag, man. I'm wearing the yellow and blue O2 jersey right now. You're living, man. We're getting Madueke, Sterling back again, and Watkins, and I'm quitting football. Damn. Got Rosicky 7 with the gold kit. The 90s kits for all teams were the best. Can't even grab these things anymore, man. That's the saddest thing. You can't even grab these things anymore. It's all difficult, man. I don't want to bore you lot, people. So I'm going to get out of it. Righty would have never left even for Champions League. That's the difference. And Righty does slag Arsenal. To be fair with you, if he had the opportunity, you never know. I fuck with Ian Wright. I fuck with Thierry Henry. You're both legends. I think you're both Mr. Arsenal. That's me, innit? So, yeah, man. Rodrygo's probably going to cost anything for you. See 70 million, 70 all the way to 100. On that note, though, man, it's been a fantastic 90 minutes. I will cut up the transfer news stream for you lot. Don't want to bore you lot, though, man. I'm sure I've hung around more than my sell-by date. To you lot for commenting, offering your opinions, smashing the like button and the rest of it. I appreciate you lot. I'll be back soon, so turn on your notification bells and all that. Check out the other vids. Most importantly, people, stay blessed, stay safe. We link up again soon, man. Peace. Always